I want to welcome you to this series of Hometown Faces. Tonight we have with us Suzanne Silek, where again we're still at the class of 1956 party that Prudy puts on every 5 years for her graduation class. Suzanne, we understand you're not part of the class of 1956. No. You're much younger.
Yes. I was a member of the class of 1959, but we were at the high school when they were seniors, maybe?
Right, yes, yeah. Were they a rowdy bunch? Are you? No
I can't
comment.
answer that.
So what was it like in the 50s? I mean, you grew up here, you've been here forever, so what was it like?
Main Street was a vibrant municipal district. We had 2 5 and dimes. We had Silkos. We had the Royal Quality Shop, Frank's, and Weaver's was downtown.
Yeah, right.
It had migrated maybe to the shopping center, but it was downtown in the beginning.
Sure.
We had Smith's Banner Menswear, the Warren Quality Shop.
The Boston store, was it there in the 50s?
Oh, the Boston store
Yeah.
certainly was there. It was there in the 40s and the 30s and the 20s.
It goes way back, doesn't it? Yes.
And to the teens.
Yep, yep. I can remember when we came here in the 70s, mid-70s, we still had the 5 and dime, the Newberry's was still here.
Yes.
And Patty Rittenauer was working at the
And
counter.
Tootie.
And Tootie, that's right. I remember her.
And we had 2 movie theaters.
Yes.
The Murphy and the Park.
Yeah. It's just amazing. Things have changed. And now we have coffee shops and breweries.
And we haven't hit the peak of the breweries,
No, we got more coming.
but at one time there were 30-some places where you could buy alcohol on Main
Just
Street.
on Main Street. I heard that story that the whole south side of the street was, I don't want to use beer joints, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember.
I don't remember that.
No, I can remember coming here in the 70s when the Afton Inn was open, and was it Shirley that ran that?
Yes, Shirley
And
Duncan.
there was a guy, I can't think of his name, but he would do, no one would ever go in there to eat, but they would buy food from there and he would deliver it up and down
Oh,
Main
yes.
Street. I want to say
I can't-
Floyd, but I can't remember
I
the name.
can't remember his name.
But I remember him, and he would run up and down the street. They did a heck of a takeout business.
Yes, and he would cater to individual people.
It's kind of like Nick's Good Food Diner. You know, everybody would talk about it, but no one would ever admit they went in there to eat. You know.
Yeah, but Shirley was cut above Nick's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just didn't want to mix with the other clientele. That's why the carryout business was so good.
Yes. Yes. So, what do you miss about the 50s, 60s? What do you miss?
The simplicity of life. You weren't as hassled. But then I was a child.
Sure.
I was a teenager, and I didn't pay attention to the adults
Sure.
of their worries or their anxieties.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have a cell phone. You left the
No.
house in the morning and you stayed gone till it turned dark, and no one worried about you.
That's right.
And even
When
your
you-
children, you did the same thing, and then all of a sudden,
And
when
now
did
my
that change?
grandchildren couldn't, they grew up in Richmond. So their mother knew where they were every hour of the day,
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah, yeah.
But they didn't have the freedom that I had and my children had. We could go downtown to the early show and come home and do our homework.
Yeah, and that's something.
And Sandra Markey and I would go down, and she lived on Blue Ridge Avenue, and I lived on Cloud Street, and we would walk down the street and we didn't have any worries because everything was basically a single family house. And there were maybe multiple versions of the family living there, but there weren't apartments or...
Right.
We still had open field on Cloud Street with horses.
Yeah, I heard that before. That's really something.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you doing now? I mean, you're still a young woman, so,
I'm busy.
You've got a lot of activities. Tell us about some of you have a business here in town. Tell us about that.
No, I'm president of the museum, War and Rifles Confederate Memorial Museum.
Well,
And I'm a member of the board of the Heritage Society.
Right. So, but I see you there all the time. You're a busy person.
Yes.
Between you and Dewey, I don't know, who works more hours at the museum,
Well, I'm there later.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. And it's really a neat thing that we have in town. The Heritage Society, the museum, the next door, the Confederate Rifles Museum, or what's the proper name of that? It's the Warren?
The War and Rifles Confederate Memorial Museum.
There it is. And we've been there several times where you've had guest speakers and things, and it's really neat to hear these people speak of things in the books they wrote. It's just a neat experience, and to see those parts of our history that it seems like the world is trying to tear down and destroy.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And whether you good or bad, it's what happened.
That's
and
right.
We need to learn from our history and learn not to repeat it. But it seems like we do repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do going forward?
I'm just piddling around.
Just keep doing the same thing? You're busy?
Yes.
So we have this series
And I
together.
had a garden this summer until
The rain stopped?
the rain stopped and the birds started attacking my tomatoes.
Yes.
And then the groundhog came in. But now it has rained and the groundhog has greener grass. So he's in the grass and not bothering my garden.
Like I told you, we came here in the 70s, and I can remember going down, Cloud Street and Blue Ridge, and the gardens that was always put out, because, you have the alleys between those streets.
Yes,
and
yes.
they have really deep, the lots are narrow, but they're deep, and almost every house had a garden.
That's right.
I'm sure they did that back in the 50s and 60s as well.
Oh, yes. They
People
had
needed
bigger
that.
gardens.
That's what they used. They used that as the substance. Yes, it's really neat. So, well, it's good. So, like I said, we tell people that we're trying to go around the county or the town and talk to people that have been here a while. So, we see you at the restaurant, the LDs, at the Walmart, different peoples, and we say, well, who is that person? I know that person, or I've seen them somewhere before. So now when people walk up to you, they'll say, hello, Suzanne, and you'll say, who's that? So they'll see you, but it's great to talk to you. It's you have an interesting life, and I know you've shared a lot of stories and things we've been together in the past, so I appreciate you talking to us.
And the library has been in existence early, and then it died, and then it came back. And the library was in the Ivy Lodge.
That's right, I remember
when I was a child.
Yes, I remember the sign hanging over there. Yeah.
And we would go over, my fourth grade class or fifth grade class would go over to the library, and there was a lady that would read us different classics of poetry.
Yes, sir.
So we were exposed to a lot of good literature. And then the librarians would guide you into a book. And it was always a challenge.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
They would pick out the Newbery winners or the Caldecott winners and say, you want to read this. no, I want to read that. It was always an easy book.
Sure, there's always one
But
somewhere.
they would say, no, you're going to read this. So the library then moved down to 6th Street, and now it's up there.
Because you're involved in the library. Are you on that board as well?
No, I'm just a patron.
Oh, well, I know you're a supporter. Mm-hmm. Because I've heard you talk about the library before. So, well, again, what do you think going forward? What do you see Front Royal?
I don't see us ever having a clothing store unless it's a boutique. And I think there is a boutique with some clothes. Mm-hmm. I haven't been in it yet. But we can't meet the manufacturer's demands. And I hope somehow they can get a clothing store back in the shopping center. Mm-hmm. Well, there's one there, but a higher end shopping center, clothing store, because I have to go to everywhere else.
Right. And we want to keep everything we can local.
Yes, but I can't. The locals don't have petites.
No.
And I'm petite.
Just vertically challenged.
Yes, that's what I say.
All right. Again, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And we will see you out maybe in LD's.
Yes.